For years, one three-letter word, it gave immigration applicants a little breathing room. RFE, request for evidence. You forgot something? Well, US could ask you to provide it. Your evidence needed clarification. You could get another opportunity. But according to fresh reports, a major USCIS policy change announced on August 5th, 2026 restores broader officer discretion to deny certain benefit requests when required initial evidence is missing or eligibility is not established at filing. In other words, the second chance may not always come. And that changes the psychology of the entire filing here. Earlier, somebody could think that I'll file now and provide the missing document later on. Well, that approach becomes much more dangerous in a stricter environment. For the Indians who are on H-1B visa, this can matter in multiple situations. Take somebody who has just lost a job. They are racing against the clock. They are trying to find another employer. Maybe they are considering a change of status. Maybe they are trying to keep their immigration journey alive. A filing with incomplete evidence, it could now carry much greater consequences. And yes, then there are I-140 petitions too. One missing piece of evidence, one problem with documentation, one financial proof issue, and suddenly a process that took maybe months of planning could become much more complicated. The same concern applies to, by the way, the I-485 applications, birth certificate, marriage certificate, translations, medical documentation. In fact, there are financial evidence. Every piece now matters. Now for H4 or L2 dependents, the paperwork becomes a family exercise. Your immigration case is no longer just your paperwork. It is your spouse's paperwork, your child's paperwork, your family's paperwork. You know, the report also highlights tighter response timelines and says that applicants should not really assume that a partial response will keep the case open for them. So the message, very simple. Do not file first and hope to fix everything later. Prepare first, check everything and then file. And now take those two stories together, digital filing and stricter measures, and the message becomes obvious. Immigration is becoming a zero-error game for everybody in the US. If you are an H-1B worker waiting for your green card, preparing an I-140 filing, an I-485, renewing your work permit or dealing with USCIS in any way, your paperwork is entering a completely different era. The US government is pushing immigration further into the digital world now. According to the sources, DHS issued an interim final rule on August 11, 2026, giving USCIS the authority to make electronic filing mandatory for immigration forms that have already been available online for at least 180 days. And that means something very simple here. The paper envelope may become a thing of the past. For years, applicants and immigration lawyers, they were used to printing thousands of pages, signing documents, arranging supporting evidence, putting everything into a packet and sending it to FedEx or UPS. Now, the whole direction is changing. It is increasingly digital. And when USCIS makes a particular form mandatory for electronic filing, a paper application could be rejected. The rules described, it also includes a 60-day notice period before mandatory electronic filing begins for a particular form. So this is not necessarily that everything goes digital tomorrow. It is more like a rolling transition. One form, then another, then another. And that matters because USCIS handles millions of benefit requests every year. Well, USCIS processed more than 14 million benefit requests in fiscal year 2025 and dealt with hundreds of millions of pages of physical paperwork. Well, the government says that moving online can reduce cost, speed up processing, strengthen identity check, and make document verification easier. But here's where Indian applicants need to pay attention. Digital does not automatically mean easier. Can you imagine your extension deadline is tonight? Your documents are ready, your lawyer is ready, and then the portal slows down. The payment falls, the upload freezes, the system rejects a document. Now with paper filing, you at least had a physical delivery trail. in an increasingly digital system, the tech itself becomes part of your compliance strategy. And then there's another concern here. The computer does not know that you are a genuine person who simply forgot one attachment. It sees missing information, wrong information, incomplete information, and that brings us directly to our second story. Because going digital is one thing, but what happens when USCIS decides there is no enough room for any sort of mistake now?